What? What? Come on. I need somebody in here to see if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Trying some new stuff here tonight. So wait for some of you guys to come on in here so that we can test this stream. You guys hearing me okay? Volume wise, thumbs up. Can you hear me? I guess if you can't hear me, you don't know what I'm asking, right? Let's see. Let me write this down. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, guys, if you can. I'm looking at you guys kind of creeping in here. What's up, fellas? I've got top chat. Let me go live chat. Maybe that will help. All right, cool. Volume's okay, Scott? God, my glasses are so dirty. Jeez. Evening. Gosh, my glasses are so friggin' dirty. Scott Taylor, Blue Klondike Outdoors, reloading from the hot pot. Daniel Waters, Monty. Yeah. How does it sound, guys? Is the volume okay? Volume adequate? Oh man, Steve, sorry to hear that, buddy. Nice circus, man. God bless you. If you don't already know, I'm trying out a ton of stuff, guys. Like a ton of stuff. In fact, I've actually got a personalized microphone right there. If you can see that, maybe I can do it like that. That way, it looks more Joe Rogan-esque. Although I don't have his money or his followers. Not that I want his money. Mo money, mo problems, they say. I've got a bunch of stuff to go over. I'm trying to use the same equipment that I use to record my podcast. Those of you that don't know, I relaunched, rebooted, whatever you want to call it, my high capacity podcast from, I've done it over the last 3 years, but never really put a whole lot of work into it. It was more just an outlet to talk to you guys about firearms, but now it's official. Every single Monday, a brand new episode will drop. And this is what I use to record all of it. Everything here. This is my newer studio. You guys probably watch me building it and all that kind of stuff. But this is where I do everything. And F you, I'm not telling you guys F you. F you, that's his handle on YouTube. Just donated a little bit of cheese to me. Appreciate that, buddy. You don't have to do that, guys. As I tell you all the time, I appreciate when you guys do that. It makes you feel good. I'm totally honored when you do it, but please don't ever feel the need to do that. I feel like you're doing enough by being here, and I'm very much appreciate that. But yeah, man, this is my little mixing board. It's made specifically for podcasting. It's been super helpful. I tested out. Good Lord, I don't even know what microphone I've settled on right here, but I tested out like 5 different mics. Got a pile of mics over there, and this was the one that, to me, I'm real bad about getting a little emotional whenever I'm recording something, so my volume will get a little high. And this is one of the ones that actually could handle that without sounding really bad when it got to that weird high end. So yeah, I was real happy with it. This is a Zoom P8. If anybody is ever interested in using it, I will tell you that it's one of the most helpful things in the world, because I'm not tech ignorant, but I'm certainly not tech savvy. And this thing made life so much easier for me as far as being able to handle different channels and whatnot. You know what I'm really curious of? And by the way, my beer of flavor tonight is Yuengling Light. I don't know if you can, it looks like it's washing out my label. Yuengling Light, the United States' oldest brewery. But I've got a mixing board here, because you see that blue light right there? That's a little module plug in there, and it's a Bluetooth module. and it's like right now it's directly tied to my phone. So I can actually, when I have my podcast, I'm actually calling people up and talking to them on my actual phone through this board into my Mac. And it's recording it like it's nothing else. Last week I had Jared from Guns and Gadgets on. This week I've got Max Michelle on. So it gives me a good opportunity to do some pretty cool stuff. I'm sure you guys probably are really aware of the Joe Rogan side. Certainly not trying to be Joe Rogan. But I wanted you, I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's a big UFC fight tomorrow night. And one of the reporters, as reporters typically will do, is they always try to stir up some kind of controversy, especially in the weigh-ins, by asking stupid questions that somebody might give a stupid answer to. And they commented, they asked, I think they were out talking to Dana White, and they asked about Joe Rogan. I want you to hear, I forget the fighter's name. I'm not as much into fighting as I used to be. I'm probably going to watch this one tomorrow night just because of this. I want to see if this will play through on my YouTube live stream. This, like I normally do when I talk. It's a video that I recorded earlier on my phone, and I'm going to see if, give me a second real quick. I want to see if it plays, and actually, just so you can see, this is tied, my phone is tied right now to that little blue module right there. So let's see if this plays. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm going to see, I want you guys to hear all this. This was a thing of beauty to me. Yeah, it's raw. There's some curse words in there. So if you got kids in the room, please, cover them up, or they probably need to hear this too, because this is applicable to every single one of us. But I want you to hear this. First of all, can you guys hear that okay? Tell me if y'all can hear the video that I was just playing. I'm gonna wait a second because I want y'all to hear that. I don't want to play it if you can't hear it, because it's I don't know how long it is, but it's a couple minutes long. So I don't want to bore y'all with it. Can't hear it. Darn. Because I can hear it in my headset. Tell you what, take it off the Bluetooth and I'm gonna play it into the mic. I want you guys to hear this. This is really cool. All right, turn the Bluetooth off and let me back it up. Turn the volume up. And I'm gonna turn it sideways. Maybe you can see it also while the light's kind of washing it out. But let's try it like this. Let me see if that'll work. There.
I had a question for you around Joe Rogan. There's been a lot of controversy with him.
First off, let me take this one. Hold on. I'm black. I can take this one. Look.
What were
there's a lot of cunts in this game. There's a lot of snakes in this game. I've been in this fight game since 2008. And Joe Rogan is one of the nicest, coolest, humble fuckers I've had the pleasure of working with.
He is.
Understand that. It's fuck noise, man. You know what they're trying to do. You can't control the man, and he's got the biggest platform in the world right now. So that's my nigga, Joe Rogan. Fuck the noise.
A lot of truth right there.
Going off that, what words of advice would you give to Joe Rogan to shut out all the noise around him?
Do what I said. Fuck the noise. Just keep doing you, Joe. Have some mushrooms. Keep doing you.
I don't know if I agree with the mushrooms, but absolutely, man. I'm so tired of everybody caving to everybody. It's like some of the biggest entertainers in the world can get called out on social media, and suddenly you see them apologize, and you're like, why are you apologizing? You're the perfect example. Okay, I listen to heavier music. I don't listen to normal pop type music or radio music or anything like that. But I know who these people are. Adele, a chick that's got a great singing voice. She's from England, I believe. She's probably the biggest solo entertainer in the world right now. And she said something the other day to upset people. And I was like, yeah, she doesn't need to come out and apologize for that. And today I saw where she came out and spoke on it. And I don't know if she apologized, but she still had felt the need to come out and address it. Don't address it. Screw those people. When those people are trying to paint you into a corner and make you say or do something their way, screw them. Screw them. And that's one thing. Joe Rogan came out. People said he apologized. He didn't really apologize. He apologized for the fact that people were upset, but he somewhat stuck to his guns. And I like that because I'm so tired of everybody feeling like they have to say things a certain way. It's like you got to get an email, a memo out, and like these are the acceptable terms, these are unacceptable. And if you say what's on this side instead of what's on this side of the page, somebody's going to cancel you or call you out. So what? You know why I'm not super popular on YouTube? Because I don't give a crap. That doesn't bother me. I would rather say what's on my mind and be truthful about it, and know that I go to bed at night knowing that somebody's not going to go back in my old videos and find going, oh no, Paul, you said this before, so you really think this way. You just said this because that's an acceptable thing to say. No, guess what? You can see me being a jerk all the way back 10 years ago on YouTube. I've been delivering the same message since I started doing this. And again, it's possible that's why I'm not big time or whatever, because I've been doing this a long time. But I don't care. I do this because there's people out there, a lot of you guys that are friends of mine that I know or interact with online that think the same way that I do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with us because we think the way we think. We think rationally, we think logically, and when something is stupid, we say it is stupid. There is nothing wrong with that. It's okay to say, that's freaking stupid. Because when things are freaking stupid, you call them like you see them. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever to always sugarcoat and hand everything to everybody in a way that you're apprehensive and you're like, man, I hope they like this. You know what? If they don't like it, click the F off of my video and go watch somebody else's crap. That's truly the way I feel. I'm not begging for people to watch my stuff. I'm not begging. If you agree with us in this room, all of us that are in here right now, awesome. If you don't, you got a mouse, or you can use your phone and you can just click off. Or you got to just click off. You don't have to comment. You don't have to leave a dirty comment. You don't have to say something smart. You don't have to bash people in the comment section of my videos. Nothing. There's nothing that you have to do. Click off, and your world is moving on to somebody else's video. We are all great, and we're all better because you left. I just get so wound up whenever I see people feeling like they have to please and satisfy everyone. It is not possible. It is absolutely not possible. All these people that never have complaints about them, seriously, think of it this way. Think of it on the flip side, because we are on the flip side. All these people that never, a person that comes to mind, honestly, is Kevin Hart, the little sharp black guy, super comedian, awesome, funny, all that kind of stuff, little video guy. Nobody ever calls to cancel him. But you know what? I don't agree with everything he says. But I don't cancel the guy. I don't ask to cancel. I don't ask people to cancel the dude. You know why? Because I don't care. Because if I don't like what he's saying, you know what I do? I don't listen. It's really that easy. It's so easy. It's not like if the guy says something that I don't agree with, that I feel like, oh, it's now my mission. I got to cancel this guy. I don't agree with him, so I got to cancel him. I think a lot of the cancelers are looking for attention. And I mean this when I say this, guys. And I know I'm getting off on a major tangent. We're not talking about gun stuff, but give me an opportunity right here to say it. This is truly how I feel. From a psychological standpoint, I honestly, in my heart, believe that when another person lashes out at an entertainer, a football player, a rock star, a country music star, a comedian, when a person starts that movement to cancel them and talk out against them, I'll bet you, if you trace it all the way back to the person where all that crap originates from, the canceller, the original canceller, I'll bet you that is a talentless, bitter, no life, garbage life, just diabolical, miserable person with, again, I'm going to repeat this, zero talent. Zero. This is their shot at fame. This is their shot to start a movement because they got nothing else. Their family sucks. Their job sucks. Their life sucks. Their kids suck. Their dog sucks. The sheets are dirty on the bed. The wife's cheating on him because he sucks. But now he's got a chance. I'm going to go cancel that person. I'm going to start a movement. I'm going to tell him Joe Rogan's bad. Joe Rogan is a racist. These people are freaking miserable. Get something better to do with your life and move on. Honestly, nobody really cares. The other people that are piling on board when you start canceling somebody, they're just as miserable. That's why they're piling on board. You were just smart enough to think of it first because you're more miserable than them. They're just like climbing on board because like, oh yeah, screw Joe Rogan. He's a racist. Zero proof. No proof whatsoever. It's just that they have their chance because they got nothing else. Again, they got a garbage job. Their wife's probably cheating on them. Their kids are probably idiots because they raised them. And they're just upset. They got nothing else positive in their life. And that's their only thing to get any kind of enjoyment out of is trying to bring somebody else down. Honestly, and this is not personal to me because nobody's, I don't think, that I know of personally attacked me for anything. I just feel bad for guys like Rogan. Dude, Joe Rogan, I know Joe Rogan, not as a personal friend. I don't mean it like that. I've met Joe Rogan several times. Back in I don't want to say my previous life because I did it more as a hobby. Back in 2007-ish, somewhere in that time, I was one of the first guys ever around that did live streaming. What I mean by that is it sucked back then. I would go out and live stream UFC fights and boxing matches. I've been to England, Tampa, New York, Madison Square Garden. I've been down in the bowels of New York, Madison Square Garden for the Roy Jones and Felix Trinidad fight. It was the most amazing thing to me to walk through the locker room area, going in there, all of pictures still on the wall of everybody who's ever performed there, your Tony Bennett's, your Elvis Presley, your Kiss, all these bands and performers have their pictures all down the little corridor as you go into the locker room area. Really, really cool. Anyway, that's what I used. I used to go out, smaller venues, obviously not big stuff, but I used to take, it was cumbersome. I used to have to take a laptop. The arena, wherever I would go at, would have to provide me a T1 line or something that was a high-speed internet because anything worse than that would just pixelate and be real blocky. You know what I mean? It was garbage. And I used to be able to take that feed, bring it into my laptop, take the feed out of there, go into a mixing board, have mics, and I had announcers, ringside announcers, and we would put, in some cases, if the venue didn't have its own cameraman, we would bring our own camera people. And it was really cool because we were able to take some of this really low-end MMA type fighting and televise it. So long story short, I'm telling you all this to let you know legitimately that I've been around Joe Rogan a lot. And what Israel just said, that's the fighter's first name, Israel. I don't remember his last name. But what the fighter Israel said was, Joe Rogan is one of the most down-to-earth, kind people. Joe Rogan, I don't think has a bad bone in his body as far as being an evil person. The dude doesn't care. He smokes a lot of weed. I don't do drugs or smoke marijuana or anything like that. But you know what? Whatever. Joe Rogan does a lot of that. But Joe Rogan doesn't try to push that on anybody. Joe Rogan doesn't lobby for marijuana. Joe Rogan doesn't show up to the UFC fight stoned. You know what I mean? That's just not his style. The dude is nice. He's considerate. The first time I ever met him, I think, was at Houston. It was the fight where George St. Pierre was actually beat by Matt Serra. Was not expected. Matt Serra was supposed to get killed by George St. Pierre. And Serra beat St. Pierre. And I remember literally running into Joe Rogan at the weigh-in. We had press credentials because we were doing a lot of press back then with, my live streaming. So we were, if you want to call it backstage, we're backstage, and Joe Rogan and he and I rounded a corner, and I had a beer in my hand and he had a drink in his hand, and we ran at each other, and whoa, it was like that. The dude was worried about me. Now, I'm a nobody. I was more of a nobody back then than who I am now. I was an absolute nothing back then. And we spill our drinks on each other. And this dude is worried about me. He don't know me. I know he doesn't know me. But he's like, oh, man, you good? Man, I am so sorry. And he's like trying to wipe the beer or the drink off of me. I'm like, dude, I'm good. I've got it. I was like, man, nice to meet you, Joe. I love watching you. I love your commentary during the fights and all that. And he's like, oh man, really, I appreciate that, man. That's cool of you, bro. I appreciate it. And just as good as it can be. And after that, I would run into him many times, and he would remember that, and he'd be like, he'd carry his water bottle, like, whoa, not to spill it on me. Just kind of an inside joke thing. Super nice, just a good man. And the dude has done nothing wrong in what he just has said some things that a group of people don't like that he said because they cannot control him. Just like Israel said, they're mad because they can't control him. Now that's my segue into talking about gun stuff, because guys, that's what it's always been. We sit out here and we fight for the Second Amendment. They cannot control us. They hate that we are speaking truth. They hate that what we've got to say makes sense and gets to people, and people listen to it and go, huh, he's right. They hate that. They absolutely hate that. And that's the thing that I've always respected about Rogan, because Joe has done what he wanted to do his way, the way he wanted to do it at every single moment, and didn't care what anybody said, and did it the Joe Rogan way without any consequences worried about whatsoever. And to me, that's commendable, because he's at that point now where he's so big, he could get way bigger. You think Joe Rogan's big now? Yes, he is. He's at with 100 million people watch his podcast, some crazy number like that. Just think if he said the same things, or the things that the left or the wackos, didn't say left because it's wackos in general. If he said things they wanted him to say, imagine how big he would be. Imagine how big it would. He's purposely turning down that next level of fame because he doesn't want it or he doesn't need it. He's probably a lot like, and I'm not trying to compare myself to Rogan, but he's probably a lot like me. Guess what? He's got what he needs. He's not missing a meal. He's not hungry. His family's taken care of. His bills are getting paid. So he doesn't care. I'm not looking to stack up piles of money, and he's probably not looking to stack up piles of money, which he's stacking up piles of money. The man is getting paid handsomely. But nevertheless, he's still turning money away because it doesn't matter to him at this point. He's doing okay. And I love the fact that there's somebody out there that's just pissing off a large group of people because they can't make him shut up, and they can't make him say the things they want him to say. And he's not going to continuously apologize about it and change. He's not going to make a show episode that's just full of apologies and saying all the horrible things he's done, and now he's so sorry for them. That's why they hate him, because they cannot control that man. All right. I want to speak on, speaking of Joe Rogan, I want to speak on my podcast. Guys, if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, again, I've rebooted my podcast, High Capacity Podcast. You can find it everywhere. I think it's even on Stitcher now. Stitcher was one of the only ones that I did not have it on at the time, and it's on there now. I mean, all of them, all of the that are out there. Let's see here. Let's see. Stitcher. Let's see where they're all at. I think I have them all on here, just to give you an idea. In case you're here we go. Podcast availability. Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Stitcher. On all of those, just either search by Legally Armed America or High Capacity Podcast, and you'll be able to find it. The first episode, the first new official episode of the reboot is number 001, episode 001. Last week I had, Jared from Guns and Gadgets was on. I'm trying to think of the topics that I had. I think I talked about, some Biden stuff that he had going on. This coming week, this Monday, I've already done the interviews for it. You'll be happy to see and listen to. It's really interesting to hear. Max Michel, world champion shooter Max Michel, is going to be on. Max was talking about the world shoot, talking about how COVID has messed up everything with the shooting industry and all that kind of stuff. We talked at depth, or at length, I should say, about, obviously he's the team captain for 6 Hour. He shoots for them, has been for many, many years, but he's their team captain. Lena Michalik is also on that team. He talked at length about Sig not being at SHOT Show. Kind of interesting. You might want to check this out. It is really, really interesting to talk to somebody. Max is technically an employee of 6 Hour. and to hear his take on why Sig was not at SHOT Show and the real story behind it and what they have planned going forward. Interesting. Not going to say I've got breaking news, but it was stuff I didn't know. And I was like, okay, he's telling me all this stuff, you know? So I was like, are you sure you can say that? Because he's not going to say it if he can't because he knew we were recording, but it was some stuff that I was like, all right, dude, you know, that's going to be on Monday, right? So it was interesting to have that conversation. I'm also going to be talking at length about a lot of the San Jose stuff. You guys have seen the gun insurance and the gun fee, the gun tax that they're requiring out there. What a pathetic thing they're doing, man. It's hard for me to imagine a group of people perfectly okay with what they're trying to do out there in San Jose. It's hard for me to imagine somebody going, cool, you know, a gun tax, you know, $25 a year, not a one-time thing, a year. Cool, I'll pay that. Oh, and you have to have insurance, and you have to have firearm insurance to cover any kind of liability tied to the fact that you own a firearm, whether it's an accidental shooting, purposeful shooting, self-defense shooting, whatever. Doesn't matter. You're going to have insurance to cover any kind of liability damage as a result of you having a firearm. Now, look at how many of us own automobile insurance and never use it. Can you imagine how many people are going to have to buy that insurance and will never, ever use it? What a money-making opportunity that's going to be for everybody in California. Think about it. Most of the shootings out there are either somebody or the homicides or deaths, I should say, gun-related deaths in America. You know, what is it? 30,000 of the 40,000 are suicides. Well, insurance isn't going to apply there. Clearly, unless they stole somebody's gun, which that's the screwy part of it. I could go steal your gun. You have to pay the insurance on it. I kill myself with that particular gun. Your insurance has to cover whatever my damages are. I'm sure that's how it's going to work. So it's either going to be that or it's going to be criminals who kill each other. So my point is the gun insurance is going to be a complete waste of money. One of the stupidest things you're actually going to be paying for, because it's suicides are mostly gang-related killings. That's what most of the gun-related deaths are in America. They're not people like us who would go buy the insurance if it's required, which, hint, hint, wink, wink, I'm telling you not to get it. You didn't hear that here. The stupidest thing is the mayor has already come out and said, making it look like we're ridiculous for reporting on this. The mayor has come out and said, oh, come on, we're not going to go out there and confiscate anybody's guns. So wait a minute, you're telling me, because they do have a gun registry in the state of California. Those of you that are wondering, well, how would they know if you have a gun? There's a gun registry out there. State of California makes you require all your firearms. They know where all of them are. So if you don't go get your insurance, they're going to know you did not go get your insurance. But by him saying that they're not going to come confiscate your gun, so you're telling me that there's a law mandating that I go pay a fee and that I get my insurance. But if I don't get the insurance and don't pay the fee, you're not going to come confiscate my gun. Well, what's the point of having the law in the first place? Isn't this like every other gun law in America right now, where they pass a law telling you that it's illegal to do something? But if the criminals don't abide by those laws, they don't lock them up. They don't press charges on them based on those particular laws that are already in place. That's the craziest thing in the world. Now, you know what's going to happen. They're going to bait people in to that. That's what's going to happen here. In other words, let's say I decide I'm not going to get I'm not paying the tax and I'm not getting insurance. Well, if I get a misdemeanor, if I get a speeding ticket or anything like that, then it'll be one of those add-on charges. So they're baiting you into thinking, okay, well, he said I don't have to go get it, and there's no teeth in this where they're going to come confiscate it, so screw it, I'm not going to get it. Beware, because that's going to hit you down the road when you least expect it. When something happens, that's when they're going to hit you with it, and that's when you're going to get stuck, and it's going to be a big deal for it, and they're going to nail you for it. Now, I did read something the other day where they are going they have some language built into it. And I think today, it was supposed to be today, I talked to the San Jose city clerk Wednesday night. And she was saying yesterday that the wording ought to be out. The full wording of the ordinance should have been out yesterday. It was not. So I'm assuming it's going to be out today. I'll have to check with her and see if it came out today because she was going to send it to me. Yeah, the full wording is probably, from what I saw, like the draft had some pretty negative stuff in there. Like they could, let's say they come to your house and knock on the door, or whatever, that would give them the right to confiscate and enter your home. And like one of the callers said on my video the other day, I actually took some of the calls that were called into the San Jose City Council. And one of the callers made a great point. He was either a current or former law enforcement officer. He made a really good point that the way the laws out there are set up and the way that they will interact with the new law on the gun insurance and the gun tax is that, yes, they may not come to your house necessarily to confiscate, but if they knock on your door and let's say, for instance, you refuse to answer, they have it in their system. When that cop goes there, they will have it in their system that you are a gun owner, one, because there's registration in the state of California, and two, they will know that you did not buy insurance and that you did not pay the fee. That alone, according to the law, the way it's going to be written, gives them the right to enter your home. It gives them the right to, according to them, not me, gives them the right to violate your Fourth Amendment rights. Gives them the right to go into their home because, again, the cop knows that you have a gun because of the registration, and they know that you do not have the insurance or have not paid the tax. And that alone, coupled together, will allow them to enter your home, confiscate your weapons, and whatever else they want to do, because at this point, you're deemed a criminal and they have probable cause and the right to go in there. That's not even a slippery slope. That does not even qualify as a slippery slope, as devious as that is. So beware. And I tell everybody all the time, and I've been guilty of it before. So, I'm throwing myself into the same pile. We often say, that's California, that's their problem, that's what they voted for, their issue. You know what? It's not really just their issue. The state of California has San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that whole Bay Area, San Jose, all that whole area right there. Before you get into Northern California. Northern California is very conservative. There are more gun owners in the state of California than there are in any other state. If you look at overall, they're jam-packed with it. And it's an extremely conservative state outside of those large urban areas or metropolitan areas. Metropolitan areas control everything because they've got the numbers from a voting standpoint. So it just ruins the entire state. Yes, I will never go back to California unless it's a big paying thing that's going to make me a lot of money and I got to get out there to do it. Other than that, no desire. I'm not going back out there for anything. I love San Diego. The weather's awesome. There's so much in San Diego that would make me want to live there. It's just beautiful. I love it. If you haven't been to San Diego, the temperature is beautiful. It seems like all year long. I've gone during the hottest part of the year. And at 4:00 in the afternoon, it's 71 degrees. Beautiful out there. Never going back. Never going back. Excuse my French here, I'd rather sweat my ass off in South Louisiana than be back in the state of California and know that I'm behind the curtain at that point. No desire. Zero. None. Not going back. I will never be back in California unless a major trade show is there or unless I'm doing something in the gun world where it requires me to go there, like requires me to dip in and get back out. But I won't be going back. It's not a friendly place to go because of the laws in place. Again, the people there, dude, there's awesome people out there. There are so many people that watch this channel. There might be somebody on here commenting right now. I can't read the text. It's way too small without me getting much closer. But I ran the analytics one time on all the people that watch my videos and follow me on YouTube. It was the craziest thing. I broke it down by state. And I had to rub my eyes and look at it again because I'm thinking Texas, maybe Florida, just the sheer bigger states with just numbers of people. Even upstate New York. I have a lot of people in New York that'll follow my stuff, or Louisiana, even where I'm at. California. California was by far, it was California, then Texas, then everybody else was just kind of scattered after that. And I was like, what in the hell? And the more I talk to people at different trade shows, whether it be SHOT Show or the NRA show or the concealed carry show, anything like that, they're like, oh yeah, dude, it's California is full of Second Amendment loving gun owners. They just get watered down by the wackos in these big cities. So yes, Californians vote a lot of this stuff in, and they deserve a lot of what they get. San Jose, looking at the people they have there, man, sometimes you're ruled by people you didn't vote for. Listening to the phone calls of a lot of these people in San Jose, a lot of the citizens of San Jose that were pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment, and really articulate people. I'm not talking about guys who were sitting on the tailgate of their truck slinging bush lights at the cars on the freeway or something like that. I mean, these were some, articulate people who were talking, pro-gun people. And to listen to them talk, you can tell that that's a small sampling of people who called in. You and I both know that you usually get really small numbers. And that was a lot of people that called. It was like 30 minutes worth of phone calls. And each one of them had 2 minutes at a time. So again, 15 calls. Only one of them was against or anti-gun. So if you think about that, if there's that many pro-gun people over there, if you only have 1 or 2 conservatives running on city council, let's say the city council has 12 members, there might only be 2 conservatives or 2 like-minded people that vote the way you vote. So you just don't vote. I mean, or you vote for the lesser of 2 evils. If you have 2 wackos, 2 anti-gun wackos, if you're living in San Jose and your district has 2 anti-gun wackos running, what do? You can't blame the guy and say, well, you voted for that, because he's probably going to sit it out. Me personally, if they're both anti-gun, I ain't voting. I'm just going to have to deal with it, because why vote for one of them because he's the lesser of 2 evil when they're both, when it comes to what I'm interested in, the Second Amendment, they're both just as bad. I'm not wasting my time. Why waste my gas money driving down there to cast a vote for some jackass who's going to vote against all the stuff that I stand for? So I'm sitting it out. So that's why I can't always say, you hear it all the time, you guys voted for that in California, that's y'all's problem. Not really, not all the time. Sometimes your job requires you to be there. Sometimes your family requires you to be there. It's not cheap to uproot and move to another state. So it's hard for me to always say that, screw you, you're in California, that's your problem, because it's not always their problem. And again, they didn't always vote for that. That sometimes they're just, out of luck. I mean, they don't have a candidate they can vote for. So unfortunately, they live there, but they're not voting for those people. So I feel bad for them. It's not right. It's really not right. I think some people are going to get made example of over there. I really see that coming. This is going to happen. Now it's going to go to court, but they passed it finally Tuesday or Wednesday night. It went into effect. So this is going to happen to people of San Jose. And why do I care? Main reason why I care, all bills originate somewhere. Every single anti-gun bill started somewhere. A lot of them in California or Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Washington. They all start somewhere. Every single gun bill that has ever made it to Washington, D.C. to be voted on at the federal level started somewhere. The thing is, these bills being worded the way they are, they will start in a place like California, and then some wacko in Illinois will say, it passed. That passed. Steals the wording, puts it in Illinois. Then some wacko in New Jersey says, huh, that passed in California and Illinois. Let's try it in New Jersey. Passes. California, Illinois, New Jersey. Let's try that in Missouri. Let's try that somewhere else. Iowa. They start, eventually it trickles its way into states that you normally wouldn't think it would be an issue. Why does it get accepted? Let me tell you why. This is why a lot of these anti-gun bills get accepted. When I say the term universal background check, most people are like, oh yeah. How many times have you heard somebody say 90% of people out there support universal background checks? No, they don't. You know why they say that? It's because we've gotten so used to hearing it that we know in the gun community that there are already background checks. We know that. So they word these to these idiots that walk in on the street corner somewheres and they're taking these polls. They get their little notebooks and they're like, here comes somebody. Sir, do you believe in background checks? Yes, I do. Now, this is like a totally pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment guy that might be okay with background checks because he's wanting to keep guns out of the wrong hands of the wrong people. So they take that and they say, yes, all these people agreed that we should have background checks. Because if you think about it, most of the people that we know, probably only about 10% of them would say, no, I don't agree with any background checks, because that's about the right number. So that tells me that they're not wording this correctly. They're using this deceptive wording to make sure that people will answer it a certain way. Again, even if you throw the term universal in there, most of us in the gun community, if you catch us off guard, now most of us know that that wording is being tricked on purpose. Take the average gun owner, though, who is just like a weekend warrior type thing where, you know, he goes out and plinks a little bit, might even carry his firearm, but he's not real involved in the Second Amendment community. In other words, he's not really in tune with legislation. He's not really in tune with the deceptive tactics of the anti-gun wackos, all that kind of stuff. So when you hit him on a street corner and he's busy, he's going to work, you know, he's doing his thing. And sir, can you answer me a quick question? Yeah, what you got? Do you think that we should have universal background checks? Yes, of course I do. And he keeps walking. If you would have asked him the real question, instead of using your own nomenclature, if you would have said, sir, do you believe that we should outlaw private gun sales without going through an FFL? Well, no, I don't agree with that. You should be able to have a private sale. If they went up to somebody and said, sir, do you think it should be illegal to gift a gun to your son, your nephew, your uncle, your kids without having to go to an FFL dealer and file a background check or submit a background check? No, I don't agree with that. They don't ask that question because they know what the answer will be. They're being deceptive on that. And that's where you start to get a little bit of normalization. That's my point that I'm trying to circle back around to. They start to normalize things. They start to make people accept the way things are. So whenever we hear things like, oh, San Jose passed a gun tax and gun insurance, mandated gun insurance, at first we're like, oh, that's terrible. Then Illinois passes it. And we go, oh, that kind of sucks. Then New Jersey passes it. And we go, sucks to be New Jersey. Then Missouri passes it. You're like, oh shit, another state passed it. Then your state passes it. Then you get mad again. That's what I'm talking about. The left, if nothing else, they are patient. And they know how to do things like this. And they know how to get us over time to learn to soften up and to learn to accept these stupid things that they put forth. This whole assault weapons ban, and I use that term, I'm so tired of doing air fingers quotes because it's so stupid that they call it assault weapons. That whole thing, they never intended to pass that the first time they tried to pass it. Never. They never intended that. They've got us saying assault weapons now. Again, we use the nomenclature because we're addressing their bill because they call it an assault weapons ban. So that's why we call it an assault weapons ban, which is horrible because now we learn to accept the term when we know it's a bogus term. but we use it because that's how they're describing their bill. So in order for us to talk about their assault weapons ban, we call it the assault weapons ban. But it's still a way, excuse me, that psychologically we are coming to terms with their new term. We're coming to terms with assault weapon. We do this every time we say it, but we still say it. I'm guilty of it too. Again, I'm addressing their assault weapons ban bill, so I call it the assault weapons ban bill. Again, the point is that we start to inject unacceptable things until they somehow or another become acceptable because of repetition and acceptance through repetition over time. And the next thing you know, we're all like, maybe that's not so bad after all. Again, I'm being smart aleck because I don't think any of us think like that we just would accept any kind of a ban like that. But that's why they do it. Again, these wackos on the left are very, very patient. They will start out knowing they're going to lose all these battles, all of them. They know I'm going to lose that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. But they know at some point they're softening people up, especially the wackos and the bottom feeders and the group thinkers. Those are the easy ones. But it's like the Pied Piper going off the cliff. It's like you start saying that negative thing that's stupid, and you get 2 people to follow you. Then there's 4, then there's 400, then there's 4,000, then there's 10,000, then there's 1,000,000 that's following you. And they're all stupid, but they all can vote. And they all have a mouth. And they all have a Facebook account. And they all can share that stupid information that you're passing on. And next thing you know, it's normalized and it's accepted everywhere. That's why these bills, like the one in San Jose, California, are so damn dangerous, because it's the beginning of softening up and acceptance. It's going to get to the point where we're going to be fighting these battles on our own damn doorstep one day. It's coming to all of our states at some point. Now, it may be after my lifetime. I'm living in the state of Louisiana, thank God. We have a Democrat governor, and he doesn't have the balls to try to pass something like that. It ain't happening here anytime soon. I may be dead and gone. 20, 30, 40 years from now, they might be talking about a gun tax right here in my own backyard. There's no way it would pass today. But all it takes is that softening up. Once it passes in a place like San Jose, that most of us normally wouldn't care about, it's going to pass to that next place. You watch. You watch. Keep your ear to the ground. Watch when, look, this is early in the year. I mean, we're February. A lot of these states have not, this is a city thing, by the way. This is just a city of San Jose. The state of California is probably going to pile onto this. Now, granted, the state of California also knows that Northern California ain't going for this. So maybe they're not going to be successful to pass this statewide. But California by itself is probably going to look at this and go, holy crap, San Jose did it. They passed a gun tax and they passed a gun insurance requirement, and they passed. So they're probably just as shocked as anybody. So look for the state themselves to do it. But a lot of these people are early in proposing these new bills and whatnot. They're going to go to the state to be voted on the state level. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see a bunch of states out there with some new proposals out there to put this type of thing together. I mean, it would probably pass in New Jersey, Connecticut. I could see it passing. The state of Washington. State of Washington just got through passing a magazine, the standard capacity ban. Anything over, I think, 10 rounds. I'm sure that's their magic number for some stupid reason. But I know 30-round mags are definitely off the table in the state of Washington. So states like that, very possible something like this could pass statewide. Yes, it would have a lot of opposition, but there's plenty of people that would vote for it. So look for that. Mark my words. See if 2022 isn't the year for gun fees and gun insurance to be implemented and mandated throughout some of these states, and watch for some of these other municipalities like the San Jose city to start implementing some of these things also. Crazy, crazy stuff, man. I mean, again, I just worry about it because it's going to make its way into the rest of our worlds. And I want to be the one that can say, I spoke out about it back then. You know what I mean? I want to be that guy that can say, no. I wasn't sleeping on this. I was one of the ones that talked about that. And I was one of the ones that pointed out how dangerous this was, that it was starting to pass. I want to be that guy because I want to make darn sure that nobody throws me into that pile and says, "Hey, Paul, you slept on that. You didn't say anything about it. Now that it's in your own backyard, now you care." No, you SOB. I cared about it back then because I saw what was coming and I knew it was going to get to my doorstep. Now it's here. I tried. Y'all didn't listen to me. That kind of thing. So that's the only thing, guys. Again, I know that ordinarily we'd be like, screw it. Y'all do what you want in California. It's a totally different country. And I feel like it is sometimes. But just, I mean, be aware of what's going on out there. That's all I can say, because it's going to pop up in somebody else's backyard. And when it does, the first thing we think is, that'll never pass here. Just like I'm saying here, that'll never pass in Louisiana. I surely don't want to be that guy where it's brought up in Louisiana. And I don't pay it any mind because we got some wackos in the state of Louisiana. At Baton Rouge, Shreveport, New Orleans area, bunch of wackos. I've sat in there and I've talked to the people in different types of hearings for gun-related bills in Baton Rouge at our state capitol, and they are cuckoo. They are flat out cuckoo. I was over there speaking on constitutional carry last year, and one of the state representatives that represents Baton Rouge itself, Baton Rouge proper, she made the comment, well, I don't see why. I don't see how you can have people with no permit, because how are we going to know the innocent people from the criminals? And everybody's like, what? Because how would you know anyway? In other words, nobody carries a card that says criminal. I'm a criminal. This is my criminal permit. So that's how you tell the difference. She was like, they don't have criminal written across their forehead. So when a cop stops somebody, he doesn't know if they're a criminal or if they're not a criminal. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, even criminals have constitutional rights. Even people who are committing crimes, they do have some constitutional rights. I mean, just being honest here. So if the criminal is not in the commission of a crime, why does the cop need to know anyway if he's a criminal? So he wouldn't need to wear a sign on his forehead anyway. But if you're pulling me over and I'm not a criminal, I certainly don't need to disclose, hey, I'm not a criminal. You should automatically assume that I'm not a criminal. You don't approach every single vehicle when you pull somebody over for a traffic stop, assuming that that person might be a criminal, and they have to prove that they're not. That's not the way the law works. You're presumed to be innocent. So that just goes to show you what kind of people we have. That would be the kind of lady that I could see pushing a bill like this for a tax, a gun tax, and gun insurance mandate. That's the kind of person I could see pushing this through. So yeah, it could pop up in my backyard this year. I don't think it will, but it very well could. And the reason why I don't think it will is because politicians are politicians. They don't do what the people want. I don't care what they tell you. I'm sorry. It's newsflash. Politicians don't really care about you. What they care about is putting forth a bill that can pass, because that's a feather in their hat if it passes. If a politician puts forth a bill that has no chance of passing, it makes him look bad. His bill never passes. So somebody loses confidence in you. The worst part about it for the politician is you may not get reelected, because that's all they really care about, because people think you're an ineffective legislator because none of your bills are passed. So that's the first strike against you. You're worried about the people thinking you're ineffective. Second thing is your colleagues, fellow representatives or senators, they lose confidence in you, because there's old stupid Paul with his stupid gun bill again. Knows it doesn't have a chance. Putting it forth again, knows damn well it's not going to pass. Still going to put it forth. Paul's such an idiot. Why does that guy always bring that bill up? So that kind of thing. So usually a legislator is not going to bring a bill up unless they're pretty sure or have a pretty good feeling that it might in fact pass. So that's why I don't think that this lady will pass it. Do not think that she's not thinking what an awesome bill that would be to have. But she knows it wouldn't stand a chance, right? Because it wouldn't. It honestly wouldn't stand a chance. We may have a bunch of cutthroat rhinos and some sorry SOB Republicans in our state, but none of them would vote for that right now. None of them would. It's not the type of bill. They would get bounced out on the street by their constituents. So I don't see that being something that could pass. We are still a conservative state. The only reason why we wound up with a Democrat governor right now instead of a Republican governor in the state of Louisiana is because I don't know if you guys will remember, but we had a senator for the state of Louisiana, a federal U.S. senator, David Vitter. You guys may or may not remember David Vitter. David Vitter was one of the senators who was in that little black book. Remember Heidi? Oh gosh, I can't remember the hooker's name. It was that madam, the street chick over there in Washington D.C. that was like the pimp lady for all the hookers in Washington D.C. And she got busted, and they got a hold of her little black book with all the Johns in there, all the guys who had slept with prostitutes, her high dollar prostitutes in Washington D.C. David Vitter was one of them. David Vitter was married, and he was a senator here in Louisiana. Got busted for that. Who did the Republicans decide to try to run for governor? David Vitter. Right after, on the heels of getting busted for that, Louisiana is a relatively conservative state, pretty much a Christian state. They put a guy who was busted sleeping with hookers in Washington, D.C. up to be elected as governor of the great state of Louisiana. No wonder he didn't win. That's how we got stuck with a Democrat. So otherwise, we would have a Republican governor right now. Anybody else could have won. Anybody. They could have put a potato up there and he would have won. But we put a guy up there that slept with prostitutes and everybody knew about it. He's from our state. And that's who we're going to run. People sat it out. People like there was no record-setting voter turnout to vote for the idiot that we have in there right now. It was because Republicans sat home and the Democrats showed up to vote and their guy won because most Republicans didn't even vote. That's how we got stuck with it. So that's the kind of stuff that we're dealing with. Guys, I'm going to bail out of here. I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to finish up my podcast. Monday, again, the next podcast, the High Capacity Podcast, is going to drop. Guys, if you don't mind, I would absolutely love you. I rarely plead for you to do anything, but if you could please go to one of these outlets that have podcasts, do a quick listen to my podcast and follow the podcast. That would be a huge help to me because what I'm trying to do is, and I'll go into this more at some other live streams and probably on the podcast as well, I'm trying to set up some pretty cool stuff long-term for me. I'm moving more into this being more of a business so that I can spend more time doing a lot of these videos, the podcast, and all that kind of stuff. So for sponsorship reasons, I want to establish a pretty solid following for the podcast. Again, no disrespect to what y'all are doing here. I appreciate all the following on YouTube. I honestly do. You guys know that, especially those of you that are on the live stream. You know how grateful I am for what you guys do for me and being there for me. But if there's any way you guys could take the time to go over the podcast and support that, I would greatly appreciate that. Not only that, it's not a complete waste of time. Some pretty cool stuff on there. It's a little bit more highly polished and produced, obviously more so than just our live stream here. But it's well done. It's well done. I will have guests on there as much as I can. I've got, just so you know, again, Max Michelle is going to be on this Monday's podcast. Next week is Phil Labonte. Phil Labonte is the lead singer for the heavy metal band All That Remains. The reason why I'm having Phil on, Phil is a huge Second Amendment advocate, big time libertarian. Really enjoy talking to Phil about government type issues because he's a he's big on choice, on freedom, big Libertarian Party guy, but huge Second Amendment supporter. I've got him coming on. I believe the week after that, I have Chris Tonto Peranto. If you guys don't know who Chris is one of the guys who was on top of one of the buildings in Benghazi fighting off all of the Islamic terrorists that were trying to storm the compound there in Benghazi when Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton abandoned them and they had to fight it out for themselves. If you haven't seen the movie 13 Hours, it's an absolutely great movie. The book is twice as good as the actual movie, but Chris is one of the guys. Chris was the guy that was on top. He made it out, of course, obviously, because he's going to be on my podcast. But he and I have become friends. He he was the guy kind of dancing with the flashlights in the movie. If you remember that character, that was based on Chris's character. So he's going to be on my podcast in 3 weeks, I believe. I'll try to start listing the schedule so you guys know who the guests are and what the topics are that we'll be talking about. But again, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I will tell you, like I always do, you guys are having conversations over here. I can see the comments just scrolling on by. You guys are rocking and rolling right now, sending these comments through. I take a lot of enjoyment out of that. What I do is after I've done, you guys are done and I'm done, I'll, wind down for the night, take my shower, and I'll lay in bed with my son, put him to bed, and I go back and watch the live stream and read through all of your comments. So it's pretty cool. I mean, I enjoy doing that. I love reading y'all's conversations and the comments that you have on there. So don't ever think that when you're commenting or if you address me or if you're conversing with me, that I don't notice that, because I do. I go back and I do back up on all that, and I love doing that. Guys, you guys are super, super hardcore patriots. I really appreciate everything that you guys do out there to protect the Second Amendment. I absolutely love the fact that we have such a strong following as far as Second Amendment supporters, gun rights. Makes me feel good to know that we're not screaming, out in an open field where nobody's listening. It's nice to know that we've got folks that are not just doing what we do, but going out there trying to educate people in a respectful way to try to get them to understand that these are constitutional rights. It doesn't make you a gun nut because you protect the Second Amendment. It makes you a constitutionalist who wants to protect all those rights. I don't know anybody who is a Second Amendment supporter who doesn't give a rip about all the other constitutional amendments. We care about all of them, not just one. And in general, if you look at it like that, we all just want people to be able to make their own dang choices. That's what we stand for. And it's cool to know that there's so many of us out there like that. So guys, again, thank you so much. Please be safe. I always say it. If you're drinking tonight, hopefully you're home for the night. If you're not, please have a designated driver. Be safe out there. We want to see you guys, back here every other Friday night. I'm trying to do these live streams as often on Friday nights as I can. It's just tough because I got so many things going on. But I mean, I make it my best effort to try to do it. So I'm hoping to have these every single Friday night. So if you guys want to set a schedule, I'm going to do my best to do it. I will say next Friday night I can't do it because I will be at the the Gundy's Awards show over in Uvalde, Texas. Is that Friday night? Let me see. The award ceremony is actually Saturday night. I'll be at my friend's house in San Antonio or New Braunfels on Friday night. In fact, if any of you out are in the New Braunfels areas or San Antonio area, let me know. Maybe we can find a little bar to go grab a beer or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. Meet some of you guys out there. I know, my area down here in Louisiana is not super huge, so there's not a whole lot of people. A lot of the people in this area who follow me, I've met. But if anybody's in the San Antonio or the New Braunfels areas and a nice, clean restaurant that we can, or I say restaurant bar type setting that we could go maybe grab a quick bite to eat or have a cold beer, let me know. Hit me up. Put it in the comment section of this video, and I'll try to reach back out to you. I'd love to do that. I mean, I always like to go to some of these other communities because I will be staying with a buddy of mine who lives over there that Friday night. So maybe we could do a live stream from over there. Heck, for that matter, we go out to a restaurant or a bar. We could do it from there. That'd be kind of cool. So again, if you know anybody in that area, Second Amendment person, or if you were one of them, reach out to me. It'd be cool if we did something like that. Guys, again, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. Always fun to me. I always enjoy it. It's a big deal to me. It's an honor to me that you guys spend your Friday evenings with me. I know you got better things to do, but thank you so much for doing it with me here on the live stream. Guys, we will see you guys soon. Take care and be safe.